You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there are no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/listen. Just go to Indeed.com/listen right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/listen. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Where do you think the center of sugar babies lies? I see the two women are kind of thinking right now. Where would you think the center lies without recognizing necessarily where you are, although I would be curious in these two particular women, but do you think the center is more girls who just prefer older men and this is a good way to find them?
I think the center... Or do you think it's
way up in the I expect cash and nothing else will do?
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily?
The persistent.
Sometimes, but the shocking stories of sugar dating. Where are you going with that?
I'm on Seeking because I'm looking for stories.
Yeah.
And I have guys who don't even read my profile, which says, hey, I found my person here. I'm in an exclusive relationship, but I would love to hear your stories if you're willing to share them with me.
They just look at those hot, juicy breasts of yours.
Exactly. So I have these guys that are just propositioning me left and right. I'm like, did you read? I'm not looking for any more sugar. I have plenty of sugar.
Yes, you do.
I have all the sugar I can handle. They're like, oh, I was hoping that you were going to be into dominating me.
Oh, that's right. You just had one about domination. Huh?
Yeah. And he's just been persistent. I'm like, dude. Yeah. If we have time, I'll read you the little banter back and forth with him. He just didn't want to take no for an answer. He was really sure that he could talk me into dominating him.
Oh, well, we have a sugar daddy coming in. He's not quite in the studio yet, so we're going to fill time. But speaking of dominatrix, Alejandra's in the studio. How are you?
I'm doing really well today, Marcus.
So I met somebody recently, like a few days ago, on a meet and greet. And I think she had contacted me first. She looked interesting. She was a little too tall initially. I mean, I'll meet anybody, right? But when they're really tall, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone because they usually like wearing heels.
You're like, pick me up and set me on your lap, mama.
You know, because I'm between 5'9" and 5'10", just depending on what I'm wearing. But anyway, she walked in. She was absolutely gorgeous, great smile. We sat down, had the most amazing conversation. You never know what you're going to get from these meet and greets because looking at her pictures, I could tell she was kind of bubbly, but you just never know. I've had meet and greets where it's just one-sided conversations and it goes horribly, even if they are stunning. And I've talked about those, but she was both. We had this great conversation. I told her about Alejandra. I told her about a lot of things. Anyway, she's a dominatrix. And I was talking to her about Amy, my original co-host, who is also a dom, who's worked at a dungeon. And she's familiar with the same dungeon. And anyway, all that's above board, but she loves doing that. I told her about Alejandra, and I thought those two had so much in common. So we set up a second date. 2 days later, we went up to the Global Ambassador, which Alejandra was very familiar with because she's been there for a few dates, right?
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. But it was really nice. It was my first time. Lily, have you been to the Global Ambassador?
I have. Why did I think I went with you guys?
It wasn't us. I'd never been.
I went with Trucker. Maybe we just went on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went up to
We've only been once.
a restaurant called Thea. I think that's how you pronounce it. Thea or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a Mediterranean. And we just had the greatest time. Here's what made it even a better experience. And I don't know how it could get much better. Our server actually went to Sugar Palooza 2 with us. She's not a part of the sugar lifestyle. I just knew her boyfriend from the country club. Told him I had a couple extra sweet tickets to the Taylor Swift concert. And his girlfriend and daughter came. So she was our server.
That's what you said.
That was really cool. So it was a very, very enjoyable experience. Alejandra and I don't even know what to call her. Eva. Yeah. If this is bleeped out, then that's not the one she wants to use. But Eva is her alternate name.
I discourage people from using their real name or their seeking name on the podcast if they want anonymity because it's too easy to find.
Yeah. But
Ava in Phoenix or Scottsdale,
yeah.
that'd be easy.
Yeah, true. But you guys got along fantastic. And that was the first time I've ever brought you to meet somebody that I was looking at as a potential sugar baby. How was that?
Well, we looked at her Instagram, and looking through her Instagram, I saw how much we have in common. Pretty excited to meet her. And I was pretty open. I was very excited and went with an open mentality of just enjoying her and just a connection where the three of us were going to have. And I saw how excited and happy was the night when he came home. And
You mean Marcus? It's okay. I'm very good at bleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcus was very, very, very happy, especially the day after. And she was, I have a feeling she was a big part of the reason Marcus was very excited and happy and energetic and just very good to see of him.
And you know what's funny is she messaged me and said she felt like the same way the next day. Very energetic, very high on life, very happy. What did you notice the next day from Marcus?
I noticed how affectionate and loving and just very dominant you were being that day. Things that I love and want more of.
I know. I
And
spoiled
you know
a
I
little bit.
love that. So does it take you to have a great experience with a woman to give me those things, Marcus?
I know. Isn't that interesting how that kind of turned my passion for Alejandra?
I don't know where to go with this conversation.
Lily's like
I'm feeling a little
deer in headlights.
Awkward, actually. Okay, so Alejandra, I know you've experimented with dating women
Yes.
a little bit. So were you physically attracted to this woman?
See, the thing with me is, yes, she's beautiful, a very attractive woman, but it didn't cross my mind like the threesome or me being intimate with her immediately.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it takes maybe more
Connection
time
for you
me
mentally.
mentally for me to be with her in that area. But I don't know, like the conversation was very enjoyable that nothing like that crossed my mind. I definitely, after we got home, I was like, that was such an incredible time. I was so, because she even mentioned it, she wants to meet with me and like we can do coffee dates and things like that. I'm like, she's a potential really good friend that I can see long term.
That's cool. How old was she again?
31.
31.
So close to the same age. And she's experienced a lot. I can't wait to get her in on the show. She'll come in, but just a very dynamic personality. And I'm so grateful that Alejandro allowed me to, to go on these dates and experience people because I really enjoy meeting people. And I'm not against exclusivity, but when you're exclusive and tied into one person, I just feel like I'm not meeting people. And I really enjoy that part. So this works for me.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about Trucker and I is we travel a lot. Like we go to the Sandals resorts for Christmas and we meet a lot of people. We meet a lot of couples and we actually make friends. And sometimes we even plan to try to meet up at a different resort for the next holidays. So we meet a lot of people together. And I like that because I'm a people person as well.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. Well, our sugar daddy just walked in. We're going to let him get hooked up, but we need to talk about the party.
What party?
The Shakira Sugar Palooza 6 party. It's coming up quicker than you can imagine. And it's a few months away. I've got a few sugar daddies brand new Sugar Daddy sponsors. We're very, very excited to have them there. Applications are coming in. We are limited to 40 tickets this year. So get your applications in now. Just go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. There's a party tab. Click on the party tab and it will take you to the application. Lily, what does that include? What does the party include?
The party includes a mixer.
It does.
Most likely at the country club with a DJ and food and frivolity.
Throwing these big words at us.
Yeah, I'm real big into alliteration, apparently. It includes the pre-party and the party bus to the concert.
Yep.
Party bus home. Most likely an after party that I will sleep through.
I will not be sleeping through it because
brunch.
more stories come from the after party than I think anywhere else.
Yep, and brunch the next day.
And for the sugar babies, it includes what?
Free accommodations.
Right. 3 days, 2 nights of accommodations in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona.
Free transport to and from the airport.
Yes, it does. All paid for by our wonderful sugar daddies who sponsor the party.
I'm very excited about one sugar daddy in particular who's going to be attending.
Who's that?
I don't know what I should call him on the podcast. I'll ask him, but word on the street, he's British.
Oh, yeah.
And
we do have a British.
Oh, Lily does love a British accent.
We do have a British sugar daddy this year coming in. So.
That's sexy.
Yeah. So we want you guys, if you're interested, women, apply at our website ASAP. Now, if you're a Patreon member, you are going to get priority judging and status on the judging. And it's free to become a Patreon member. We'll just touch on that real briefly. I've talked about it so many times, but go to patreon.com/Secrets of a Sugar Daddy podcast. It's free to sign up, but if you want to unlock the entire site, the community chat, the behind the scenes videos and photos, hear all the episodes before anybody else. There's a lot of great things.
See the eye candy of the week.
We have an eye candy
We
of the
got a
week.
hot chick on there every week.
I'm telling you what, and they're getting just hotter and hotter every week. It's unbelievable. They're all
And we've
great.
actually had 2 sugar daddies of the week.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the rest of these sugar daddies to get as brave as the women.
Right.
And share their stuff.
We've really, really expanded it. We're trying to put a lot of great content on there. It's only $10 a month to start to unlock everything. And then we have some coaching and profile review options available. Lily is amazing at those. I chip in every now and then. But yeah, we'd love to have you join our family. It's a lot of fun.
I agree.
Okay. Sugar Daddy Dwayne, one of our absolute favorites, is in the house. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Oh, I love that voice so much. I'm telling you,
I love that voice as well.
He has the best clips from...
Can you do it in a British accent for me?
That's a lot of pressure.
I don't think I have a good British, but perhaps this is something close enough.
Oh, it's not bad, mate.
Fun.
All right. So what have Sugar Daddy Dwayne been up to?
Well, Sugar Daddy Dwayne has been, we just came through the holidays, which are very busy for me in various both job and entrepreneurial size of events. So been kind of busy, but these days I am less in the sugar world and kind of dabbling in the vanilla world with some confusing results. So,
well, I think we all do. I think most people kind of dabble in both. You did, Lily, right?
Yes.
I know Alejandra did.
Accurate.
Yeah, I certainly still swipe to see if I get any matches, and it's horrendous. But what have you been doing?
In this case, it's mainly just that, there are a few women who I interact with on various, just out in the real regular world. I haven't been on the websites or anything.
Okay.
That, I'm kind of seeing where things might go. It's been kind of interesting. I'm very excited to be here with both Lily and Alejandra. It's hot in this room.
Yeah.
For more than one reason, right?
For more than one reason. So maybe you guys can, interpret for me if you so choose to do that. I can give you all of my mixed signals and you can tell me what they mean.
Are you juggling several civilian women right now?
Well, that makes me sound like a player, so yeah.
Oh. Okay, then.
There's...
Or in the men's realm, we call him a stud.
Do tell.
That's right.
There you go. All right, so I want to tell you, well, actually, let me fill you in on the sugar world first, because maybe this is kind of interesting. So in previous times, I have told you about Violet. She was the one that moved in with her roommate and her dog, and it just didn't,
I remember well.
didn't quite work. Yeah, so
Yes.
there you go. She has reemerged in the social media world and has, at least to me, has begun communicating just a little bit. So
With you?
with me, right?
Really?
Just
What-
reaching out, and she does massage therapy, but so she's kind of in that, hey, I'm back doing that work again, but wanted to know if you were interested in spending some time together. And I've been like, well,
Would you like a massage with a happy ending, sir?
I don't know if that's exactly what she's offering, but perhaps something along those lines. So that's been interesting. And I will say that having talked to the two of you, Marcus and Lilly, is you gave me a different perspective on all of that. I was convinced that I had been wronged, and you guys both had the opinion that, well, maybe I just needed to go a little slower and be a little more gentle. So I have at least
Yeah, that's
allowed
something we
that
really
as a
want to talk
possibility.
about because we've had some experiences with that ourselves lately.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well,
But we can
love to hear
pursue
about
that later after you fill us
Okay.
in.
Okay.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
So second in the sugar world is a girl I've known for a number of years now, off and on, and she has gone through a divorce, and she decided that she wanted to go a different direction with a former coworker of hers. But, well, let me just tell you a little bit of this story. So she had told me at one point a few months ago that she was a little bit concerned about this man. Now, this is Kay that I'm talking about. I think I've talked about her before. She's a little bit concerned because his mind doesn't seem to be all there sometimes. And there was a story of him wandering into her daughter's bedroom,
Oh, God.
trying to find the bathroom, and decided that her closet was in fact the bathroom. And quite a confusing little bit of a story. She swears that he's not drinking. However, that has now turned into he is no longer a recovering alcoholic. And so she has now reached out to me. But here's the interesting part of that story. I wanted to give you enough of the background. I met her mother about 2 weeks ago when her mother flew into town to visit Kay. And she went out of her way to bring her mother to my house so she could give me a Christmas present with her mom in tow. So I have actually met Sugar Baby Kay's mother, which is a very interesting thing since we are not in any kind of active arrangement right now.
How old is Kay?
32.
Okay. And how old are you?
I am 55.
How old was the mom?
I didn't ask.
Probably close.
Probably similar. Mm-hmm. How was it meeting the mom?
Well, apparently she, Kay, had framed me as her mentor.
Yeah, I was wondering
Okay.
what the setup was.
Yes, exactly. So I'm the mentor. So she was coming by for that, so we could trade Christmas presents. And Mom insisted on coming in to meet the mentor. And I am reasonably confident, just from the looks that the two of them gave and all exchanged and all of that, that Mom is onto something. Mom isn't buying it.
Mom was born at night, but it wasn't last night.
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
Alejandra's mom was sure onto something, and she finally had to come clean on how we met. So the moms are not stupid. They'll play dumb sometimes.
Right. They want to let kids get away with things, but I think moms always know more than we give them credit for.
Is that true, Lily?
You know, I've heard some stories from my daughter that I had no idea.
You had no clue on?
And then when I was an adult, I told my mom some stories that she had no idea.
Really?
So,
So you did
maybe
pull a wool over
maybe
your
we
mom's
just have
eyes a few
sneakier genetics in my family. I don't know.
Well, in your case, that's probably true, Lily. That's probably true.
Probably true.
So those are a little bit of the recent sugar world that I can fill you in on, but I want to tell you about a new one. We'll call her L. So I'm looking specifically to the women in the room. I want you to help interpret signals because I am well understood, Marcus. It is well understood by me anyway, that I do not speak womanese, apparently. So women who give signals, I either miss them and my friends are like, what is the matter with you? Why did you not get her number? And I've said, who?
Right.
And they were like, that girl right there that you were talking to. And I went, what? She was interested? So I miss signals. I also see signals that aren't there. So it is well understood that I do not have this figured out, right? So I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to give you the signals that I think I have seen from Elle, and you tell me whether I'm reading them correctly.
Now, Elle is a sugar baby.
No,
she's-
Elle is a vanilla. She's
a
just
civilian.
A civilian.
Okay,
right?
and we met her where?
We met her at a common interest event. We're taking a class of some sort together. So
Okay,
yeah.
and how old is she?
Probably mid-40s,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Age appropriate even.
possibly even age appropriate. Yeah, possibly young 40s, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So things start with when I first walk into the room. I'll start with this, and I see Elle standing there, and my jaw drops.
Describe her, please.
Well, she is about 5'9",
Oh, she's
dark
tall.
hair, big eyes that are just not quite cartoon-like, but, we tend to be attracted to big childlike eyes. She has very, very, very big expressive eyes and a beautiful smile. And when she first turned to look at me, it might be that my jaw was open and drooling and she felt bad for me, but she gave me a beautiful smile on the very first time that we ever met. And I think I might have become ensorcelled right in that particular moment. That's my guess. But as we've gone back interacting back and forth, it's just there's lots of fun, a few little light touches, but not much. But, she laughs at all of my jokes and makes eye contact a little longer than maybe should be necessary. And this feels to me like a signal already.
So far, so good.
This is good. So shortly after that, I had asked my best friend to come join me in this particular class and mentioned, there's this woman here that I'm telling you. You think you know my type, and you're probably right. You'll know who I'm talking about. So he walks in and is meeting various people, and he gets around to Elle, and Wheat said later that he instantly went, oh, I knew exactly who you were talking about. It's this one right here. He came after that class telling me, dude, she's into you. I see how she looks at you. This is on if that's what you're interested in.
How often is this class? Once a week?
Once a week.
Okay.
Once a week.
All right.
So, okay, well, he sees some of the same thing. A little bit lingering eye contact, a little extra smile, laughing a little extra too hard, those kind of things, right? Okay. I see Alejandra is nodding her head like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. So the following week, I have decided, okay, I've let this sit long enough. Let's see if I can make this happen. Well, my friend in the meantime had decided that he was going to be my wingman, and he's a very good wingman. He's done a great job. He has contacted her on the side because they apparently exchanged phone numbers somewhere along the way that I didn't know about. And he has been talking about this sporting event that he does. He likes to play volleyball. So he has invited her to volleyball, and he has mentioned that he's had a hard time getting me to come out to volleyball because, I'm busy and old and fat and I don't want to do these things, right? But he shows me a text from her. He didn't just say that it happened. She sent a text that said, I think I would like to come out to volleyball this week. Could you make sure comes too? Now, this is to my wingman.
I'm going to have to bleep that.
Yes, you will.
It's okay.
How about I try this again? My wingman gets a text from her who says, I think I can come out to volleyball. Can you see if Dwayne would come?
There we go.
And I'm thinking, wow, wait a minute. She's telling my best friend that she wants me to show up to this event. I mean, okay.
So far, sounds perfect, right?
Sounds pretty good, right?
Okay.
All right. So the following week in this class, she starts off the day with, hey, everybody, how you doing? We kind of do basic greetings. And she says, hey, could I get your phone number just in case I need to text you for something? And I say, sure, let's trade phone numbers. This is fine. This is all in a relatively big group. So, all right, this is it. This strikes me as, all right, women don't just offer their phone numbers to a single male all that often unless there's some interest. That's what I'm thinking.
I
right?
don't.
That's what I'm saying. So, okay, this is great. So at the very end of this class, I, walk out with her and get her a little bit alone and say, hey, by the way, now that we've traded numbers, would you like to go somewhere sometime? I've got these tickets too. And I stopped because she was already saying, oh, well, I mean, as friends, sure. But I mean, you're a lot of fun, but I mean, I've got this thing. I'm trying to see where it's going with this other guy. And okay. And I went, wait a minute. Eye contact, laughter, asked my friend to bring me to give me your phone number. What am I missing? How did I get here with what looked like all these positive signals that apparently aren't there? So I'm asking the women in the room, what is going on? Because Dwayne does not understand quite how to make this all work.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. Lily, you have any thoughts on it?
Well, I just think maybe she really enjoys your personality and hanging out with you. And maybe she really is wanting a friendship type of thing, which doesn't mean something wouldn't develop from that, because oftentimes it does. In fact, I would say probably the best relationships are those that develop over the course of time from friendship. So my guess is that she really enjoys you, but she's not looking for anything romantic with you right now.
Alejandra?
So I have given my number to someone with the intention of, he seems like such a fun guy. I would love to hang out with him. And I remember this was in school, and he also thought that I was into him and wanted something like down the line relationship. And I did have to explain to him that I just wanted him as a friend, and that me and him had a lot of things that were compatible, like hiking outdoors, and he was very outdoorsy. And eventually it did end up being a relationship. So
Wait, how did it turn? How did he wiggle his way in there?
well, we were seeing each other once a week in school, and then on the weekends he would, hey, do you want to go on this hike? Do you want to go to the lake? Do you want to go off-roading? And then eventually it ended up him asking me out, and
The attraction grew.
yes, it did, because of how enjoyable the time was with him. So
But here, Sugar Daddy Dwayne had asked her out, and she just kind of shot him down. How does he recover from that? See, that's the tough one.
yeah, it's I would say just like Lily said, and she probably just wants to enjoy your company, and just it's scary at first for a woman when a man immediately think this can be something more.
Yeah, you got to give it time, and you got to not come on too strong. And I just thought of an example. So when I was going to college, I had an older male gentleman in my class that I just ended up sitting by, and we struck up conversation, and we consulted each other on assignments and did homework together and that type of thing. And we did exchange numbers. We hung out a little bit. I remember my sister and I went with him to the swap meet, and he misinterpreted that as I was interested in him, and I was not physically attracted to him. I enjoyed his company and his personality. And it was the most awkward moment of my life, because we had to ride an elevator up to our class. And so after class, this is a night class, we're riding the elevator down, and he just leans in and tries to kiss me.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
It might be a little fast.
Where did that come from? Well, we
Okay.
had been in class together all semester, but I guess I don't know if my friendliness was being interpreted as attraction or romantic interest, but it absolutely was not. And then that totally turned me off and made me kind of gun shy to even hang out with him anymore, because I didn't realize he wanted more than friendship. And I had to explain to him, hey, that's just not what I'm looking for.
Now, how could he have turned that situation around to make it feel a little bit more comfortable seeing him going forward?
I don't know. Maybe just saying, hey, sorry, I misinterpreted that.
My suggestion is girls love a friendly, fun guy who seems like nothing bothers him. And if you say, oh, sorry, maybe I misinterpreted, but I'd still love to have fun, blah, blah, blah. That puts them a little bit more at ease. I know this is kind of not exactly the same, but I was dating a girl and we got engaged. And all of a sudden, the reality of things hit her, and the relationship started really suffering. And then as soon as we broke up, we were just friendly again. All the pressure was gone, and we really enjoyed each other's company. And then things grew, and then she ended up chasing me, right? She wanted to get back together. So you almost have to just kind of let the pressure off. Maybe she just felt pressure at the moment. Just let it off, have fun, enjoy, say things that are funny, act like nothing happened, or maybe even talk about it like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go that direction, and then just have fun. And all of a sudden, they're going to really start enjoying you for who you are, and it'll grow organically. And then you want to get into the position where they're actually starting to chase you again instead of you chasing them. It's a delicate dance, and so many men blow it, just like the guy did with Lilly.
Yeah.
So
Leaning
that's
in
my
for
advice.
a kiss. That's bold.
Yeah, that is bold.
Yeah.
In the elevator, and I felt kind of trapped and panicked.
Yeah.
And
well, you were trapped.
I was just like,
in the
whoa, whoa,
elevator.
whoa, whoa,
Nowhere to
whoa.
go.
I don't like you like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
Well, I will report that with Elle, I have basically already taken that advice. So
Good.
I have been to her home, and we've had a kind of a group activity over there.
Really?
And, oh, yeah. So, I mean, things are going well. I get to leave this story on at least a little bit of an upward note that there was some
Well, that's good
confusion
to
there,
hear.
but I'm kind of already doing that. But that's
Well, and if the other thing she's kind of pursuing implodes, Daddy Dwayne's there to
could be.
provide a shoulder to cry on.
That's right.
Well,
That's
and
right.
then my advice also, because I am not an expert, although I've been through these situations and I feel like I'm more knowledgeable now than I've ever been, is to type that exact scenario into YouTube and see what comes up.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, you're not the only one that has faced that situation, and there are dozens upon dozens of videos that address things just like that. Now, they'll give a little bit differing advice, and you kind of take what you're comfortable with, but most of them will be congruent with their advice, and they'll let you know that, first of all, you need to do this, and then do this, and do this. It's almost like a plan, like a step-by-step plan. And then you follow that plan, and it's not 100%, but more times than not, it will work in your favor. I told her I saw this girl and things were going great, and then all of a sudden ghosted. Just absolute ghosted, and so confusing. We talked about it on the episode with Alejandra and Lilly, and it was just very, very confusing. What do? Typed it right into YouTube. All these videos came up. They pretty much said the same thing, and they're like, this is what you do. You do nothing. You do not ever contact her again. If she decides to change her mind, she will contact you, but you go on and start living a better life, and something else is that right? So
It's true.
most men will like, hey, why are you, Alejandra, you've ghosted guys before. Most men will say, hey, why are you not answering me? Hello, this is rude, blah, blah, blah. They'll just start blowing up your phone, and that is
That will never work.
Oh, I've changed my mind. You think you're a great guy. That is never
That
going to
is
happen.
the wrong approach.
Yeah, and there's so many men that blow it. The urge is to say, hey, what's the matter? What did I do? Is there something wrong? Blah, blah, blah. That's not what they want to hear at the moment.
That's right.
And that's not going to make them turn their feelings around for whatever the reason
I
is.
will say that one of the interesting things about this podcast is hearing that sugar daddies get those things wrong in the sugar dating world.
Even more.
Perhaps even more than in the civilian world. And
Because
I've
there's
been
some
very
entitlement.
fascinated. Well, that's true. That's true.
There's like, hey, I'm successful. I have money. Why are you ignoring me? What are you doing? You know what you're missing. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They try to force themselves on the
The
women.
arrogance.
Yeah, the arrogance too.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
I'm sure that doesn't help.
Yeah. So that's why I like to take this podcast more than just interviewing men and women about their sugar dating experiences into coaching and life lessons. And like I said, I'm not the expert, but I've certainly been through all these things. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube. I've talked to psychotherapists, relationship coaches. I feel like I have a better understanding now than ever as we're older and more mature and we've been through these situations. So hopefully somebody can learn from it.
Well, and Marcus and Alejandra turned me on to this new reality show called Later Daters. Have you seen it?
I have not.
It's about the challenges and tribulations of trying to date when you're older, like in your 50s, 60s, 70s. And they actually have a dating coach. They have a woman who has all this experience, written all these books, degrees in human behavior and psychology. And she, in a very supportive way, coaches them on what they could do better, what they could do differently, and how they might be roadblocking themselves. So I found that very interesting. Maybe we need to be dating coaches.
Right. Well, I mean, we do coaching.
We do coaching
For sugar daddies and sugar babies through.
Don't you do profile reviews?
And we do profile
Yeah.
reviews, help them to attract the people that they want to attract. Here's something funny. Speaking of that, so Alejandra and I were out with Eva for dinner 2 nights ago, and she showed her profile to her mom, and I think to her sister. And in there, I have, hey, I'm somewhat of a sapiosexual. Now, I didn't even really know that word till I started dating, but I really am. I love great conversation. It's a turn on for me. Highly intelligent conversation about meaningful things. And her mom immediately said, sapiosexual. Oh, I'd never go out with that. Sounds creepy. So
She thought it was something negative.
I don't know. But the thing is,
Maybe she
I'm not-
thought you like to be covered in sap and have your sugar baby lick it off.
but I'm not going to take
Well,
it
who doesn't?
out of my I'm not going to take it out of my profile because I'm trying to narrow down the people that I want to see. I don't want the people that are, hey, it's $500 and can we skip the dinner and go directly to your bedroom? I'm not looking for that. And then, the other people who don't understand it, I'm not looking for them either. I've narrowed it down to kind of what I'm looking for. And the girl that I ended up meeting, she was great with it because she is too. So she understood it. And we had a great conversation. And then Alejandra met her and we shut the restaurant down. And then we went to drop her off and we sat in the car for like another 30 minutes. We just couldn't stop talking to each other. It was an absolutely amazing connection between all of us.
Well, and kind of a tie-in to what we were discussing about giving someone space when you first start dating. There was a woman on there who went on a date with this guy, really hit it off, went on a second date with him, and then she felt a little overwhelmed. And she said she was more about reasons and seasons in the dating world instead of smother and cover. And she felt like he was really just too much all the time, wanting to hang out constantly. And she wasn't used to that because she was barely re-entering the dating scene. And she's like, I need some time to spend with my family. I need some time to hang out with my dogs and my friends. And eventually they did get back together, but he backed off, gave her space, and let her reach out to him. So it
Which
worked
was the
out.
proper thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just struck by how today is definitely Alliteration Lilly Day.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, Marcus.
Good stuff.
I was thinking about an episode a few back now. You just mentioned a number that I will admit, probably because I've been reading some of the forums, like the Reddit forums and things like that. But, you just said a 500 number, and you had an episode a little while back that emphasized that almost universally, except for some of the really expensive markets, that seems to be settled on a typical PPM style price range. Is that still true
No.
after you've
It's kind of the
No.
minimum.
No, that is like the starting.
I would have expected that too,
Now,
but yeah.
I'm finding, and Alejandra is, matter of fact, we heard it the other night. I mean, we're finding 800 to 1,200 and up. Now the word is 1,000. Like I've talked to many girls. There was one, and I hate to say this, but it's ones that come across as a little bit more elite girls.
Okay.
They're a little put together better than the average girl. Their photos are better. You could tell that they're in the higher category. And, I hate to categorize people, but then there's some that are just like, I just want somebody to message me back. And I'm like, well, I can see why they're not, because you don't present yourself well. So the girls that really, really present themselves well have a lot to offer. I messaged one and she goes, well, what's your, allowance or PPM or whatever? And I told her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, hon, that's not going to work. I'm at 1,000 minimum. I'm hearing that more and more and more.
Interesting.
And I said, well, no, that's fine. I mean, my budget doesn't work for everybody. And she knew about the podcast, right? And she said, well, I thought you being pretty successful, you'd be more open to that. And I go, well, problem is you're not the only girl I'm seeing. So I have a budget. my hands are tied. I can't be paying 5 girls $1,000 every time I see them or whatever it may be, right? So, explain it to them. I did have another girl, and when she showed up, I mean, yes, if it was in my budget, I would have paid her that. She was amazing, tall, 5'9", as advertised, great conversation. But the reason that she went and saw me for less was because we bantered back and forth online, and she goes, you know what? I really want to meet you. That's fine. I'll come meet you, whatever, blah, blah. So I just explained to her my situation, and it worked for her, even though she doesn't like accepting less than that.
So you're saying that being an attractive person actually matters in the sugar world?
Just a little bit. I mean, guys work very, very hard for their money, and, if they're going to spend it on somebody, they want to spend it on somebody they're attracted to.
True. There is that side of it as well, for sure.
Now, here's the thing, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, is sometimes the girls get so hung up on what's the dollar amount, and no, I will not do it for less. They miss so many opportunities. And I would encourage girls, do not let that number, whatever it may be, let you miss out on so many great opportunities. So my number's not as high as, we had Sugar Daddy Dave in, I think his episode was 86. Very successful man here in town. He goes, yeah, I give girls 1,000, or I tell them 1,000, and then if it's a great date, I give them 2. Well, I'm not in that category. I'm not in that realm. He's very, very wealthy. I'm not. I'm wealthy, not very, very wealthy, right? But the girls that I meet, that I introduce to the party, do I introduce to the podcast, that I introduce to other sugar daddies, that I introduce to businesses that I have, opportunities that I have, the ones that won't meet me completely miss out on that. They're stuck on a dollar sign, and they don't want to meet anybody for less than that. My time is valuable. I get it, but you have no idea what you can network your way into.
I'm curious, if we imagine a spectrum where on one extreme end is a girl who just genuinely enjoys the company of an older man, and on the other end is a girl who wants to get paid. I usually don't like to use terminology like that, but you understand, right? One is all about the money. One is wants a relationship, and here's a good way to find it. If we imagine that that's a spectrum of who you can find on the sites.
That's pretty much the edge of the spectrum.
Imagine 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. We'll label that 1 to 10 in which direction or another. Where do you think the center of sugar babies lies? I see the two women are kind of thinking right now. Where would you think the center lies, without recognizing necessarily where you are, although I would be curious in these two particular women, but do you think the center is more girls who just prefer older men, and this is a good way to find them?
I think the center... Or do you think it's
way up in the, I expect cash and nothing else will do?
I can tell you, I'm speaking for Alejandra because she doesn't have a microphone. It is not about the money for her. She genuinely enjoys the experience. Yes, she likes to get compensated for her time, but for the most part, she never talks money with the guys ahead of time, unless it's somebody she really, really doesn't want to go out with. And he's like, look, now you got to make it.
Throws out a big number to discourage them.
Dissuade, right?
And I believe, Lily, you're the same way, right?
For me, it's not necessarily about dating a much older man. I have dated much older men. Trucker's only 8 years older than me. He's really pretty age appropriate. For me, it's about finding that typically older men are smarter, wiser, more refined, more chivalrous, more thoughtful, more old-fashioned. Those are all qualities that I like. I like a man who opens doors for me. I like a man who knows how to give genuine compliments. I like a man who shows up with flowers. I just like all of those things.
Do you find that that's more common in the sugar world?
This is hard because I do know a lot of sugar babies now. And some of the women I've encountered, they really treat sugaring as a business. And so
they're higher on that scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
More
there are some that I absolutely know. And there's a couple that I'm like, I don't even think they like men. I think they just like men's money. And then there's others that I know, like me, were really just looking to find a quality man that they could connect with and hopefully fall in love with. there's a lot of those too. So I see both sides of the spectrum.
And sadly, the entire spectrum is online. When we come looking for you, we have all the way to both extremes to try to figure out who you are and find the ones in the range that we're looking for.
Yeah, and I talked about that in episode 1. I reference it all the time. It was an eye-opening experience for me when I got on Seeking and started sugar dating, because I was like, wait a minute. If I need a prostitute, if I need somebody that's going to bang me for a few $100, they're there. That's easy to find. And then I met a girl who's like, I don't want your money. I'm really looking to date. I want an older, successful guy. I just enjoy older men. I've always liked them. And that's just what I want. And I'm not really looking. Yeah, I mean, if he spoils me, great. But we're not talking finances here. And I was like, wow, this spectrum is wide. So how do I figure out what I want? And everybody wants something different. Unfortunately, the outside world likes to stereotype or peg us as that's just code for
all
prostitution.
the way at the business end.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
right.
the left side. I call it the left side because that's the more liberal prostitution side, and then the right side, more of the right conservative, I just looking to date, right? So that's the whole premise of the podcast, is to dispel that myth and teach people how to find what you are looking for.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
Well, I was just enjoying while Lilly was going through her phase introspection there of what exactly you're looking for, watching Alejandra nodding her head very loud, very, 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 very loudly. Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's all over the board. It really is. And I don't think I could have answered that question if it weren't for this podcast, because through this podcast, I have met so many sugar babies that I don't think I ever would have run into or known I was running into them without the podcast. So I feel like I have a better perspective of how women are just as all over the board in what they want as men are.
Well, the other thing that hit me when I first started was I went out with this girl. This was 8 years ago. She had just graduated and she was a practicing physician's assistant, PA. You know, that's just under a doctor. Then I went out with this other girl who was a lawyer. And I'm like, what are these people? You know, they enjoy dating the older, successful men also. And a lot of them have a lot of school debt from getting their degrees and stuff. And a lot of them want to do it, but they don't want to have to do it. It's much more enjoyable to work when you do it because you want to. I found that in my ex-wife. She wanted to be a nurse. And if you look at nurses, they look miserable. She was doing some clinicals, and I went to pick her up, and I'm walking around. They all look like zombies. And I'm like, nobody looks happy here at all. Are you sure you want to do this? Well, she enjoyed working with children, so she ended up getting a job at the children's hospital. That was her passion. Once I took the pressure off of her about having to pay bills, I took care of everything. I said, look, put your own money in your own account, and you do with whatever you want. That job meant something completely different to her, and she enjoyed it, and she loved getting up and going to work every single day. And then, you know what? When she was tired of it, she didn't have to work. And it's a big ego thing, and it's a flex for men to retire their woman, to be able to say, you don't have to work, babe, but if you want to, I encourage you, and you can do whatever you want. Lily, you're kind of in that boat.
I am in that boat. I don't have to work. I just do it to help you out and
Right.
get to meet all these interesting people.
And then when we met JJ and Lynn, he talked about that. He's like, my woman is not going to be asking some other man if she can take off and go to the islands vacation with me.
Yeah.
And so he retired her right then and there.
The difference between me and some of the others is I retired myself because I was in a career for nearly 3 decades and I did earn my retirement. The sad part is there's nothing ample about my pension. So my career was more a labor of love, not a labor of wealth. And so by immersing myself in the sugar world, I am experiencing things that I've never experienced before. I'm driving a car that I could never have afforded on my own. I'm living in a 6-bedroom, 6-bath, 2-story, beautiful home with a pool and a hot tub.
In one of the hottest neighborhoods in all of Arizona, Phoenix.
I'm spending vacations in the Caribbean, and my sugar daddy's taking me to New York City for my 55th birthday just because I said I want to do 5 plays in 5 days. And so, yeah. And, you know, I tease that he's my sugar daddy, but we're really just boyfriend, girlfriend. But it's kind of fun to call him that. And he does spoil the hell out of me. So,
well, even Alejandra's parents always referred to me as her sugar daddy long before they actually knew that I was her sugar daddy. I mean, it was kind of obvious. Like, wait a minute, how are you paying for school? How are you not working and you still have money in your pocket?
Sounds like it worked for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anything else, Sugar Daddy Dwayne? We are coming to the end, but we always enjoy having you in.
Thank you. It was great to be invited.
I think we got into some really good subjects today because you are obviously not the only person that gets mixed signals. I get them. Almost every man gets them. And so how do you deal with them? I think we talked about that. So
go to YouTube.
YouTube, that's the best source. But you can also, learn from our experience and what's worked. I know that in most dating situations, this is not 100%. I kind of try to think of this. What would James Bond do here? Right?
what?
What would James Bond? He is like the ultimate alpha male, right? So what would James Bond do in this situation? And a lot of times I'm thinking, well, he certainly wouldn't do what I'm thinking. He's a cool cat and women love him. And what would he do in this situation? And a lot of times that is a great mentality to have when dating.
And I will say this, when you said that, Lilly went, what? And Alejandra went, shrug, sure, whatever. So apparently you're pulling it off.
Yeah, I'm not a big James Bond fan. Maybe I should watch a little more Bond.
Oh, he is the ultimate alpha male. Yeah. So anyway, well, if you guys want to share your crazy sugar dating stories, go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. Contact us there. Instagram is a great way. We have begun putting a lot more content on our Instagram. I've hired a sugar baby that we met, and here's a networking opportunity. She came. She was one of our guests. She's been to our parties. I've actually hired her to help with social media. So even though I was never with her, I never gave her an allowance, she has networked her way into some income and some opportunities, which is really cool. So again, take those opportunities, even if they're not ideal. You think, he's not giving me enough money, I'm not going to see him, but he's a nice guy. See what you can learn from him. Maybe he can learn from you. I mean, it's a great back and forth. But our Instagram has improved, and we're starting to post all kinds of really cool videos and memes and reels. And then our party is coming up, so don't forget to go apply for that at secretsofasugardaddy.com and the party tab. Okay, anything else? We're good, Lily?
I think we're good.
We're
going to leave it with this.
What are we going to do?
Alejandra's takeaway from Later Daters was the dating coach said, be interested, not interesting. So that means what, Marcus?
Well, she quoted that to me a couple times too. Be interested, not interesting. Meaning, don't be a one-sided conversation when you're meeting somebody for the first time or even the second time or even ever. Be interested in them and then have a balanced conversation. I've talked about this before, but there was this girl I met. She literally talked for 2 hours nonstop, never asked me a question. I just sat there like a lump on the log listening to her. Now, we had a great time, and I wanted to see her again, and I told her about it. And then I said, look, you talked for 2 hours. Like, you know nothing about me, which is fine, but I do enjoy a more balanced conversation. And the next time I saw her, she looked right at me and started asking me questions about me and my family and my job and this and that. And then I asked her questions, and we had a wonderfully balanced conversation, and we ended up seeing each other for quite a while.
So the advice is, if you feel yourself starting to babble, take a sip of your water or your beverage, calm down, and ask a question of the person that you're with. Let them engage in conversation as well.
Very good.
It's almost like this is actual dating.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is actual dating with a financial component. All right. We've got to get on to our next show. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.